And joining me now is Omar Rahman, who's a fellow at the Middle East Council on Global Affairs. Omar, thank you so much for your time here on TRT World. How much of a problem would you say it is that Israel still doesn't actually have a plan for post-war Gaza?
First of all, thank you for having me. I wouldn't say that Israel doesn't have a plan. I think they don't have a plan that's acceptable to the world, and therefore they're not willing to share that plan. But I think it's been made pretty clear by their actions, by their words, by policy documents that have come out, that their intention is to liquidate the Gaza Strip, to displace its population, to maintain a long-term Israeli military presence in the Gaza Strip, in a sense, to reoccupy it without providing or administering for the Palestinian civilian population. So I think that's their goal. They're just unwilling to explicitly say it in a way that will be very uncomfortable for their partners in the world that are continuing to finance and arm this war machine.
You say their goal. Let me challenge you on that. We know that Yoav Gallant, the defense minister, has said that he's not going to play ball with any kind of military presence in Gaza after the war. Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz, he has threatened to quit if there's not a plan in place by June the 8th for post-war Gaza. So in a sense, we're talking about Netanyahu here. Why doesn't he want to have a plan for a Palestinian rule after the war?
Well, if you look at the statements from Gantz and from Yoav Gallant, there's very little variance between what they're saying and what Netanyahu is saying. I mean, Yoav Gallant, in his 6 points that he put out, calls for the annexation, the Israeli annexation of the Gaza Strip. So what's the difference between that and what Netanyahu has said? As well as, the ability for Israel's military to go into the Gaza Strip whenever it wants. So, we're splitting hairs here.
So you don't really buy that he's threatening to quit. You think he's just sort of making sounds so that it looks like he's challenging Netanyahu?
He may be. I mean, these are people are playing internal politics. Netanyahu is, facing a very difficult political environment for him in terms of his support among the Israeli public. And these guys are playing for, succession within the Israeli political system. So I think everybody's vying and trying to, create divergences between them and Netanyahu himself, or to embarrass him. But after all, I think there's very little difference in what they see as the post-war, so to speak, end game for Israel.
Okay, Omar, if you could choose, who or what body do you think would be the best suited to run Gaza once the war is over?
Somebody that's chosen by the Palestinian people themselves. The Palestinian people have the right to choose whoever governs them. And so I think that's the most appropriate. I think what we also need to see is some kind of international trusteeship come in to protect the Palestinian people from the Israeli military, who they are very vulnerable to, as we've seen over the past 8 months, not just in the Gaza Strip, but also in the West Bank. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen because Israel's not going to allow any international trusteeship to come in there unless it is to do its bidding, so to speak, which is to police the Palestinian Population Center for Israel while Israel continues to continue on with its military occupation in the West Bank, its annexation of territory, which is its ultimate aim. And so far, we've seen the rejection of that type of outcome by the Arab states and the international community, who want to see a firm plan in place to reach Palestinian statehood in order for them to go in and govern the Gaza Strip. But Israel has been unwilling to do that, and so they're carrying on this campaign, starving out the population, and obviously wreaking just the most horrific havoc I think humanity has seen in a very, very long time.
But you're saying you want someone that's chosen by the Palestinian people to run Gaza. I mean, we haven't had elections there for many, many years. How would you go about getting the public or the Palestinians to choose their new leaders? Hold elections, basically.
I think it would take some time to put a process in place to elect a new leadership. I mean, obviously, Gaza is completely in ruins. Israel has destroyed it. Everything that sustains life in terms of civilian infrastructure, housing, water, power, everything, and it's killed generations of families. So just even the pain and trauma inflicted on the Palestinian population in the Gaza Strip is something I don't think we've ever seen before. Even World War II, I don't think reached this level in terms of what Israel is doing to this captive population for 8 months. And so longer term, in terms of putting a process in place in which Palestinians can elect their own leaders, I think is very important. At the moment, I think that's going to start by putting the PLO together first before the PA, so that the PLO can make decisions on behalf of the Palestinian people writ large, in terms of what they want to see, what their vision is for the future, given what's happened. But these are things that are going to take a little bit of time. I think in the meantime, you need a trusteeship, somebody in there to prevent further massacres against the Palestinians and protect them from the Israeli military.
Omar Rahman, thank you so much for your time here on TRT World.